Treasurer Margie Stiles, Vice President Carlotta Holmes, Vice President Tony Silsky, myself, Tom Zeff, President, and Secretary Jackie Hobson. So the first order of business is, this is kind of go pretty quick because we got pizza coming, But I'm going to talk fast. Anyway, the first thing up, I wanted to kind of give you a history of what happened the last year with the plant. You know that we have different tests we have to make, that we have to submit to IDEM, and this is where we get our fines from when we don't do our job correctly. The carbonaceous biochemical oxygen demand, never could get that acronym right. We had 150 of those, 58 of those tests with no violations. And I don't know if the crosstalk is going to come on this recorder. I'm going to hold up. Okay. No, Forrest, you're televising anyway, right? And then total suspended solids, 158 of those tests, and we had no violations. Ammonia, 158, no violations. Phosphorus, we had one violation, but it was minor, and we didn't have any fines. And 91 times we tested for E. coli. We didn't have any violations. But E. coli, we checked between April 1st and October 31st every year. The sewer lines, we weren't scheduled to televise anything this year. We have two pieces of equipment that can help us drastically in cleaning out the lines. And one is our Vector truck, which we had which was in the shop. And also, it took a while for us to get our John Deere backhoe digger. That really comes in handy when you're adjusting manhole covers and raising them above grade. So, also there are control boxes with these lift stations, and if a screw gets loose, it could flat out your basement if you happen to be alone on the block. It happened to one of the people I know. So we make sure that those are always tightened. But as far as getting the lift stations, we didn't get a chance to clean them out. There's no, the back truck wasn't there. The generators weren't clean. Pardon?
I am. I'm going to have to.
Okay, I'll hold up for a second.
Yeah, would you?
There's chairs here, we can fling them around.
Okay, I need you to go ahead and vote.
Then they're gonna turn these chairs around. Turn those chairs around. Well, they're
Close to you guys.
What about those two right there?
Yeah, we could do that. Why don't we do this one?
Okay, just move them out.
Yeah. Here's 10.
I believe the time we started the meeting was 7:03. Leave Jackie?
Sorry, really?
Forgot to mention that.
What's it?
Yeah, could have been Smith.
Okay, all right. And you did vote. All right, thank you. Just 1 second.
I might as well keep going. The next one, we have 15 lift station generators. It says lift generators, but the word station was omitted. We have 15 of those to clean.
There you go.
The pumps that go with the lift stations, I mean, does everybody know what the lift station is? We've got like, we got 15 of them. They make that growly sound when they first start up, and they're just pumping all the sewage up to 30 and then bringing it over, coming down 350, pumping it. We cleaned 13 of the pumps in the lift stations out of 31.
Share.
inspected 366 manholes, and 60 of them need to be adjusted. They're off kilter a little bit. We've got 4 of them adjusted, and we also have to elevate 11. We haven't gotten that done. And there were 2 sewer backups that went into people's homes, but it's both the fault of the homeowner, not ours. Alarms and equipment failures. You know, first of all, Forrest, you're back there running the camera, but you got anything to add, or want to add anything?
No, sir.
No, nothing. Okay. Alarms and equipment failures. We've had pumps jammed 13 times.
Yeah, they
Uh,
missed pages.
The augers on the micro stream jammed 11 times. We had 6 power outages. We have 22 call outs. As you can see, you know, call outage, anything in
This is
emergency.
okay, so yours.
Power
Do
outage,
this for me.
lift station repairs, or backups. We also had
Oh.
the drain aeration tank number 4 for repairs. I'm not quite sure what this is, a skimmer return, probably. Forrest, is that something you can see, or is that underwater? A skimmer,
You can see the skimmer, but the pipe core is all underwater.
I see, okay.
Yep.
Edgewood lift station had radio transmitter and a PLC stands for programmable logic
I have one for you.
control. And it failed, we repaired that, and in the blower house, which is one of the buildings we have down at the plant, number 2 motor failed, but it was repaired. That we, Forrest, what happens if that blower motor doesn't get repaired? What does that do?
It's been repaired.
But if it doesn't, what happens?
If it doesn't, we have a spare. You will have to buy another one to replace it. A new one is about $5,000, and the rebuild for that was $1,300.
Well, what happens if we
If it
don't
stops,
have
if it
it,
doesn't
stops, we don't fix it?
If it stops and you don't fix it,
Right.
then you'll just be running off the backup for a while, okay? Because you have the backup blower. And if that one goes down and you don't fix it, then you don't get any air to the aeration tank.
Okay, okay, so that's the motor that's putting the air in the tank?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, capital replacement and improvement. We have at the main lift station, that's the one on Shorewood Drive that's down there by the, you know, where the lake borders one side of Shorewood Drive, and then on the other side of the road, there's that lift station. We need some concrete work done, and we're gonna start that in August. It's hard to get bids, really hard to get bids, and then people don't wanna come out, right, Forrest?
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like pulling teeth out of a tiger.
Yeah.
And so now in August, it's supposed to be, concrete work is supposed to be done. It's kind of falling apart. Pixley Court lift station, we couldn't even get anybody that wanted to do that. And finally, we got, who is it, Cooley?
No,
Abe?
it's AccuDig.
AccuDig. So they're gonna come out, but it's time and material related. They won't give us a cost until they get done with the job. And that's the only one we could get. And that's slated for August. And then the digester, originally we had a price of $14,500 to fix 8 cracks. Then the guy, what happened there? They didn't come out right away. It got postponed, they got busy. So finally, now we've got, instead of 8 cracks, we got 40. So now instead of paying $14,500, now we gotta pay $42,645. And that was only one guy on that one too, right? I believe?
No, we got 3 people bidded for that, but to patch it like we're patching it, yes, we was able to get one.
Yeah. The other ones wanted to put a rubber coating on the inside. What was it, like $188,000 or something?
Yes.
Well over 100 now.
Yeah, over 100. This guy was gonna do it for, just patch it. So we get the cracks patched, hopefully that'll last for a while. We purchased new computers for the office, 4 computers. We were having problems with the computers, also what we did besides the computers, the way they talk to each other, it's called peer-to-peer, right? And so we were having problems with the computers, communicating with each other, and I just said, let's get rid of the server. We got rid of the server.
Yes.
We kept the cloud, got new computers, and things are going okay. Linda, you got any problems?
No problems.
Boris?
Couple glitches here and there, but it's okay.
That's about it.
Yep.
We also got a new copier for the office. We needed that. And so, that wasn't too bad. We got a good deal on that. Now, going to financials. The, Margie, the year-end report for December 2023, that's yours?
2021.
2020, 2022, right? No, yeah, 2021,
2021,
I'm sorry.
I know, with
2021.
all these different dates.
Okay, turn the page. And the December report is here. We had an income of $76,843, and we had expenses of $46,057. We had a bond payment of $27,132. The surplus deficit was $3,653.76. The year income year to date, we have $937,460. We had expenses of $518,000, and we had bond payments of $313,689. We had a surplus of $419,454. Our debt service ratio, this is something we were held accountable for by London Lee all the time. We had to meet this all the time. It was 1.28. 1.25 is required to be in compliance with the bond covenants. Year to year restricted funds, we have two bonds, $3,475,000, from March of 2014. Bond payments and interest, we have $2,485,000, $2,485,986. We have a remaining balance owed of $2,201,471. The debt service reserve, it's an escrow that we keep, is $325,969. And we get that back after the bonds are paid off. The debt service reserve target is $325,000, $325,920 was met. We have $49.54 interest earned. Periodically, the bank will sweep interest earned on this account into the 201 account. Year to year, unrestricted funds. Operating funds, this is at first source. We have $141,417. We have total operating funds, $425,776. We have $10.64 months of cash on hand. So almost 11 months of cash on hand. Capital replacement fund at first source is $46,266. Money market account is at Fifth Third. And we have $1,297,439. Just transferred some of that, I know, to the bank. Total unrestricted funds. We have $1,769,769.
Okay, thank you, Margie. The next page, if you turn over, I put this on an Excel spreadsheet because I want to be able to talk about the bonds that we got. We paid those off. And So anyway, you can kind of get a better idea of what's going on when I talk about that. The page is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to draw your attention to line number 12, where it says debt service ratio 1.30. That's for every dollar we spend, we have to earn $1.25. That dollar we spend is general operating costs. It's not capital improvement and replacement. The problem with that is you can get into a bind and you don't have enough money for operating costs because you got to maintain that 1.25 debt service ratio. If you go below that, then right away Regions Bank wants to send in, or is it London Whitty? Which one is it, Linda? Who sends in the guy that's going to audit?
London Whitty.
London Whitty, the auditors. Then if you don't get it above 1.25 after a year, then they get called a bond. So we have to keep that. We always have that number, breathing down our back. But we had, at this point, if you look at the very last line, line number 43, I think it is. I don't have enough light to see, but 43. We've got, at the end of May, we got 1.9 million, and change, whatever that number is. So we had enough to pay off the bonds. So now, for the first time in 30 years, we're debt free. We don't have that over our shoulders. What we're saving by doing that is we tried to get around this. It didn't work, but we have to have an audit from an auditing company, and we're paying $9,000 a year for that. And then we're paying another $2,500 a year for Emma, which
To report the bonds.
to report the bond on, what is it, the internet?
Yes.
It stands for electronic
Marketing,
marketing, yeah, it's an acronym.
municipality marketing access. So
Yeah.
we have to report.
So we don't have to get audits if we don't want to now, because the bonds are paid off. So if you look down on the very bottom line, you'll see the two bonds. One is taxable and one is this bond, now I can see.
No, I mean, we're just-
2014A and 2014B. The 2014 obviously is the year 2014 when it was taken out.
What is your name?
And it started out at, interest rate was like at 1%, 2%, and then it creeps up to 4 and 5%. So we got that off our back. And so now we have, if you notice on line 3, it says $27,132.08. That's what we were paying every single month for those two bonds. So now that money goes to us. We don't have to pay it anymore. Now, we couldn't pay the bonds, but we don't have to pay that money to the bond company. But we still have to pay the interest all the way up to December of 2023. But the bonds go to 2029, so we're saving all that money from December 2023 to, I think, April 2029. We don't have to pay that interest anymore. But the nice thing about this is we just, now we can take that $27,000 we get every month, and we can use that to build up cash reserves, and when inflation comes down, we can do a lot of things to the plant. And we also have, now we don't have that debt service ratio hanging over our head. So, so somebody's gonna ask this question, so I'm gonna ask it, because I was in the audience. The first thing I would say is, well, now that you don't have the bonds anymore, before we didn't have the bonds, we were paying $47 a month. Then, in order to get these bonds, we had to pay $65 a month, because London Whitty said, well, we're not gonna give you the bonds unless you pay, unless you raise the dues, as I call them dues, you're not really raise the meters dues. So now that we don't have the bonds anymore, you're gonna go back down to $47 a month? No, we can't. And I would be the first person in this community to do that if I could pull it off. but we've gotta build up cash reserve, because there's a lot of things we need to do to the plant. And once we get all this done, who knows? But it kills me to not go back down to 47, but I'm probably the only one that would attempt something like that, but we can't. We have to build up a reserve. Because now we're down to $341,000 in the bank after we paid off the bonds, but now we'll be making $27,000 a month, and that'll build up very quick. So, if you notice, another thing I want to bring attention to is the yellow section down here. If you notice, as far as with the legal bills from the lawsuits we have $238,000 we paid out in legal bills, but there are a couple of settlements coming in, and the one will bring us more money than what we have paid out for all the legal bills combined. So we're gonna get that money back and then some. But I don't really want to talk about the lawsuits. We're getting close on a lot of them to be finished off, so I think we're going to be in great shape there. If you turn to the next page, this is it's June 30th, but there are some numbers that we don't have yet. But I told Linda, I says, well, let's do as best of a job as we possibly can to put this together. So you can see on line 43 that we've got $341,000 left. And we should be getting a settlement that'll kick it up over $500,000, and we'll be okay. But what we have is I'm trying to look here. The debt service ratio, that'll be no more. We won't have to deal with that. I got it on the June one, but that'll be off the books. So, but by looking at this, rather than go through line by line, I'm just boring the heck out of everybody. Anybody got any questions on this? While it's still fresh in my head, because I did this a couple of days ago. No, okay. So let's move on to arrearages. This is kind of like my obsession. I'm trying to get to zero. And if we put out 480 statements, and 110 people who didn't owe any money, but you know, the bill goes out and it's $130, 110 of that 480, they don't pay their bill. The most common problem is I just put it off to the side and I forgot about it. If we can get everybody just pays their bill, pays it on time, we could probably, half of the office time could be used for other things like filing and things like that. We spend half of the office chasing money. And, but it's just, I don't know, it's just maybe, 20% of the people it's just the way it is. So it's not like, and generally it rotates. It's not the same people all the time. And some of the people it is, but not always, right, Linda? It kind of rotates. No? It's the same people.
One thing that really helped, we used to have about 200 people, and a lot of them were the same, you know. But once we sent out
Monthly statement?
well, not only just the
The
monthly
dig-up
statements,
letter.
we call them the dig-up letters, because after you get to a certain point, we will shut you off. Well, once that happened, a lot of the people were better about paying, and then they would go maybe on auto pay, or they would want to prepay, because a lot of people, they just forget. That's just the biggest problem. So now we've got since we lowered the range, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's, it used to be you wouldn't get a dig-up letter unless you're $480 in arrears, 460.
450, I think it was, yeah.
Now it's 260.
No, yeah.
So after you miss two payments, two month payments, you get the dig-up letter. We haven't dug up anybody yet, but I'm gonna dig somebody up. I gotta dig myself up. I'm gonna dig somebody up.
If you have flags in your yard, question it, because that means we're serious. That means we did,
Yeah.
that's the last step.
What color are the flags?
Ours are green, but what
But they'll
happens
be all
is
different kinds.
everybody's going to be marking your line because we're going to be digging you up. NIPSCO has to mark their line, water, I mean, so they know that when we dig up your line, that we don't break the NIPSCO line or the cable,
See, we
that kind of
can't-
stuff, so.
We can't leave
Tell
your
us.
house, we can't foreclose on you
So.
because we're not part of the Gulf Race municipality. So
But
the
if you
only
see-
recourse we have is to dig up your front yard,
Right.
put in a valve,
Turn
and
it
then
off.
turn it off, and then we have to call the Board of Health. The next day, they come out within 10 days and tell you, you gotta leave.
Right. So you can see it's much, you told them it's much better, right?
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
we're
we
down
really
from
get it
about- We're down, we've been generally as high as,
40,
I can remember
50.
45, at least
Yeah.
over 45, and now we're down to 5,300.
But this month was not a collection month. You know what I mean? It's the in-between month. May was the collection month. So by the second month, they're pretty good because by that time we send them reminder letters and we send them dig up letters.
Yeah.
Now the next one will be July 18th. So we'll see what happens. But it's still been much better than it was before. Usually, like you said, it was about 30,
Yeah.
and now it's
But
5.
everybody knows we're serious about digging up if you don't pay your bills.
What happens if they move?
If
Do
they
they have-
move, they owe us money, we'll dig them up, and shut it off. We'll still.
We catch them before they collect the money.
They have a agreement with us. Okay, so even if they move, our agreement is still with them. Just because they move and somebody buys the house, it's not like, oh, well, now we have a new contract.
Can you not get that money at the closing table?
We do.
Okay.
Greg's smiling over there, Greg disagrees, right? A little bit. I'm gonna hear about it. But when you come in, you sign an agreement. And until you come in and settle that amount with us, we'll still dig you up. And so, I mean, it just, but we haven't had to do that, so, luckily. But to be down only 5,300 is a lot better. So the average house is, the average 71 people, most of that 71 people is late fees of $4.32. Most of that 71 on the sheet.
Maybe you should raise the fees.
Well, you gotta look at it this way. If we're generally make $125,000 off of you for the year. We're getting $27,000 a month coming in. So that's gonna be, what, 300,000 plus another 20? We're probably making right now $450,000 after we pay off all our bills. So why would we raise the fees? We gotta have a problem with that, it's like, hey, we're making all this money off you, but let's make more,
Draw it
I mean, we can't, that'd be run out of town on a rail, you see that. But, so 27,000 times, let's see, 25,000 times 12 is what, 300,000 plus another 125 that we get after all our expenses are paid. So we're 425,000, that's a pretty good chunk of change. After everything, we can do a lot with that. I think we can save faster than we can spend it. Really do, because of all the you've got to get all the permits and everything, get the engineers in place and this and that, and that takes a while. We can make it faster than we can spend it now. So I don't, there may be a day we got to raise the rates, but I don't see it right now. So getting back to where were we here? Financials. So I talked about who paid off the bonds. So now, and if something comes up and we need a lot of money in a hurry, being that we paid these two bonds off 7 years ahead of time, I don't think we have any problem getting a loan or getting another bond if we had to. Although I wouldn't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Just as long as we can just, right now for us, is there anything, we got fixing the digester, is there anything in that plant other than tank 4 which needs some repairs? Is there anything that is nothing that's going to say, hey, we gotta go get another bond, we gotta take out something, we can handle it. Plus we're getting there will be some settlement money coming, but, so that's gonna help out a lot too. As far as personnel, some things that we did for the employees, because we were hearing about it. First thing is, they have health care, dental and eye care. That costs us $13,000 and change. And then the 401k plan, they can put up to 4% of their pay and we match 50% of it. Plus, is there what, 10%? Jack is not here. I believe that's, no, their health care, they gotta pay 10% of that, but so that costs us another $3,500. And then pay raises were almost 10,000. And, but they're happier. They were, when Mike, one of our employees, came in about, what was it for, 7 years ago, he's making $11 an hour.
Yeah.
We heard a lot about that, so anyway, he's okay now. And Forrest will be retiring on September the 1st. So after what, 25 years?
25, yes.
25 years. We're looking at maybe keeping Forrest on a part-time basis. So we can, that would cut costs if we can do that and the two guys can get the work done. But we'll see how that goes. So now, comments from the members. Anybody got any comments? If I didn't confuse anybody, you should have some questions. What's this? Oh, okay. No comments? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, John Bullock. Lot number.
I'd like to give 4 cents for round of applause for the 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
sure.
Since we got 1174 people that aren't tied up to sewer, and the tie-in fee is basically $4,000 just to tie in, what about trying to get the homeowners all to sign up to make more money? Why not cut the tie-in fee, give them X amount of time to do it, and if they don't do it within that time, then they pay $4 grand?
Well, we're not really, see where we're at with 6 lawsuits. We're not really in a position to where we can take on more homes. And so the thing is, we're not actively going out, plus when now the bonds are paid off, this number's gonna change, but it's actually $62.86 to process that sewage for a home. We're not making money off you people when we say, oh good, we'll get another 20 homes here, another 30 homes there, we'll make more money. It don't work that way.
Okay.
It don't work, it's like, oh God, it's just more, because here's what happens. Eventually, we have to, once the subdivision is built, let's just take Arbor Lakes South or Sagamore. We have to take possession of those pipes. In about 20 years, those pipes will be separating, roots start growing in between the grommets and things like that.
Yeah, I do the sewer work for
repair
grommet.
those things. And that starts eating up the cost. So, and we don't want to get to a point where we smell this stuff every day. So, we don't want to be bigger. We just want to
Want to be better.
we want to be better. We just want to take care of what we got. But if we have to, because a person had 2 septic tanks and they both failed and we have to hook them up, I mean, we have to. But we're not really in the business of wanting to go out and look for more business. We got enough right now, and we're not at the capacity is, on a sunny day, we have capacity. But on rainy days and belly pressure days, we don't have capacity. And now we're scrambling to figure out how we're going to channel that water to make sure nothing overspills and IDEM starts finding us. We don't have redundancy, meaning if we have to take down a tank, we've got to start putting the water somewhere else. And we have this digester, which is where all the hard liquor goes, the stuff that won't break down. But we, in a crude form, we have redundancy, and we have capacity on some of the days, But most of the time, when the weather is bad, we don't have capacity. We get 1 million gallons take homes in there. So we're not really looking for more people who are trying to get discounts. You know, if nobody knocks on our door, we're fine. So that's just, the way it is. Any other questions? Okay, so now we go to, the next thing, the total. Okay, 8 people chose not to participate. Jackie, you can read it off. You did all the work. Go ahead.
Vote count is as follows. 8 people chose not to participate. Bill Cappers got 11 full votes and 2 half votes for a total of 12 votes. Greg Schaefer got 12 full votes and one half vote for a total of 12 and a half votes. It was decided by a half a vote.
How do you get a half vote?
Because people who do not live in Shorewood or Deer Creek,
Oh, okay.
they get full votes. But the people who live in Shorewood and Deer Creek get full votes. Anybody who lives in Sagamore, Edgewood, Arbor Lakes Estates, whatever, they only get a half a vote.
That's right, I forgot about that.
That's how you get a half
Any
a vote.
other questions or any comments or anything?
How can, I got one more.
Sure.
I live-
Name and lot number.
Huh?
Name and lot number.
William and Metros, lot number, I forgot what it was, 105, I believe.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Down on Wexford and Roxbury, the 25 houses that don't have water there. I have got a hold of Indiana American Water, and they said they're gonna come out and possibly do a survey to see the cost, plus if I can get enough people interested, they'll run the mains for free, and all we have to do is tie-in fees. Because on that whole end of our subdivision, there's no fire hydrants. A house goes up there, the house is gone, it's going up. So we have no safety skirt for us there at all. So I was wondering if there's any way a board could send out letters recommending this is what needs to be done. Because when I got a hold of Indiana American Water, they said if I get enough people that want to participate, they will do all the mains for free.
And then have-
Okay, that would be, maybe
My
the
suggestion
POA
would
would be
be-
better suited.
My suggestion would be, one, you need to work with the POA because we're not in the water part of it.
Okay.
2, you probably need to have Indiana American Water send out the notifications if POA is interested, and have POA give them the addresses of the people in section 15, which is what you're talking about.
Yes.
And because I know they told you, but a few years ago when we looked at that, they told those people that it was gonna cost like 400,000 or something crazy
Right.
that they would have to pay. So, as I said, let them, Indiana American, if I were you, have them to send it out if it's their commitment to pay.
It has nothing to do with POA or the SFU.
Okay,
So you just contact American Water
I have.
and deal with them. Because it's nothing in ours, and the POA has nothing to do with you.
But they might have, didn't have to supply the names and addresses of the people who live in that section.
They
Right.
put it in there.
Well, I'm sure he can get the names.
They have the shoreline. They would be more better suited, because they have the shorelines, they can get the message out a lot faster than we can.
It's not for us to do out because we're not.
You see, now, we at least put a flyer in your mailbox saying that the meeting's tonight,
Right.
so,
Even that would be helpful.
yeah.
I was
Margie had a
thinking
good
of going
idea.
door to door, but I don't know all the addresses. I had no problem doing the legwork and going to door. I already went to 5 houses. They all 5 agreed to it, all on Wexford. They said, oh yeah, I'll
You
do
can get name and
it.
addresses from the POA for section 15.
Okay,
They'll give you that.
Yeah. Margie had a good idea in putting out a magazine similar to the POA shorelines, but call it sewer lines.
And you know it's much like.
And now you can find out everything
And
you
it's
don't
full
care.
of, you know what?
Yeah, we're full of it. But anyway, you can find out all that boring stuff that you really don't want to know. So anyway, I thought that was a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we were told that our pizzas and soft drinks will be available at 1:45.
Thanks, Annette.
We've got
Quarter to?
It's 42. It's 7:42.
Well, we don't have any more
So in 3
questions?
more minutes,
I-
we should have food, but he has a question.
Oh,
Rick Moore, lot 342. I know that the POA wants to grow. Can you take care of that growth?
the POA has about 40 some lots left? Yeah, we've already
Yeah, that's in our,
penciled that in
Yeah.
for that growth. We've already have that accounted for. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we already have, I think, what is it? We're set up to take up to 1,254 homes, and if everything is built out,
That's right.
everything gets built out in Sagamore, Arbor Lakes Estates, the Edgewood's built out, Deer Creek's built out, Shelburne, that's not going anywhere, that's
Commercial.
retreat, yeah, commercial retreat, and Shorewood, we're set up to take on 1,254. But we're not set up to go out and look for more subdivisions.
Because I know that the POA bought the land across the street, across the, they
Yeah.
want 120 acres, and only need 60.
So you think that
I
the
can't
POA
imagine.
eventually is gonna put some,
They can't develop it and they're not gonna tie in.
well,
I haven't heard
for
anything.
one
I don't think
thing,
they know what they're gonna
the only,
do.
for one, right now, our CTA or service area that's been approved does not include that other side of 30.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll tell you when it comes.
Do we own the land, but at the corner of Route 30 and,
No, you mean that farmer's field?
no, in our subdivision,
No, we don't know. He's talking about where 30 and 500 intersect?
where the wall is?
Oh,
Short
that were all
drive.
Oh, yeah.
that open area over there? Yeah, we do. I mean, at PO, we don't. POA does.
Hey, Susie Teleski?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I was wondering if the board could give us an update about all the lawsuits that are going on with the utility. What's the status of those cases?
Well, yeah, we can't really, there's not a lot we can talk about. All I can do is tell you what we paid out so far in lawsuits. That's the only safe thing I can do. But I mean, there's, some of them are in the process of being settled in our favor, and we're not taking a hit on anything, but I can't. Then we got, Mr. Glenn Fish in here who's handling the class action, but I don't believe he wants to comment either, right, Glenn? Kind of,
Not really.
I really don't want to, I don't want to get myself or get us in trouble or jeopardize, anything, so I'm just
Well, I
trying
guess I was just
to.
asking
Yeah, I'm
what
not
the
trying
status
to.
was, like the
Yeah.
status, like where are they? Like, I'm not asking for any intricate details, just like the status.
Well, the challenge is this, and this is for all the members to understand. You know, we've got multiple lawsuits going on to try to capture insurance money for the large damage claims that the utility has suffered. You might have noticed in the last 5 years that never once did the lawyers that are on the other side of the case come in and share their story, and share their status, and share their strategy. And we have the same challenge. If we were to go and tell everybody, here's our strategy, and here's what we're doing, it would give an unfair advantage to the other side, and the utility would suffer by not getting the recoveries that we're trying to do. So all I can tell you is I've been litigating this for 5 years and 2 months. And we're finally at the point where there's an opportunity to settle, but until the settlement comes in, we can't even describe that because there are potentially some confidentiality agreements that are being drafted. So the good news is we see some progress. The bad news is we're too smart to give our strategy in a public meeting when the other side is hiding that information from us.
Okay,
So we want to.
let me just once again ask my question because I never said the word strategy, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. I just asked what is the status of the cases. I definitely did not ask any kind of strategy
Right,
that we
okay,
have.
but
I mean,
The status
obviously, I
is,
just
some
want
of
to
them
know
are
the
close to
status.
settling.
Well, if you could
and
go
others-
through each one and tell
No,
us
no,
what
I
the
can't do
status
that.
is.
No, I wish we would have our attorney here. Yeah, I can't do that. Well, I get in big
Well,
trouble.
no, of course you could do that because,
No,
I mean,
no.
this is public information, so I don't see why you couldn't do that.
If I was to do that, I would want the attorney here. Maybe perhaps the next meeting we have, we'll have our attorney come and then he can answer.
And I'd like to know why Marge is saying no, what's.
Margie's, like we understand, we learn the hard way. We understand when to keep our mouth shut.
We are
And I'm
not.
not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes here, but boy, we gotta,
I mean,
Glenn is
literally-
right. Glenn is 100% right.
Literally, it's public information, so I'm not quite sure what the controversy is.
Well, see, we don't go on the internet, I don't know what's out there, I have no idea what's out there, maybe you can
It's
see.
not that it's
but-
on the internet, it's on the case docket. I mean, that's all.
Well,
Okay, then
we
you
don't-
know more
We
than-
don't know, you know more than us then.
I don't know, because I haven't looked, I mean, I just don't have time, so I was just asking for an update. So
The best thing I can
think
say
the
is
easiest thing is to
for-
give people an update.
The best thing I can say is, next meeting, bring in the attorney, and then you can ask questions, and then leave it up to him to tell you what, what he wants to. I don't wanna be that person, I don't wanna.
I think the board is being invasive and not answering.
Well, yeah, we are, I'll agree to that, we're being invasive because we don't have our attorney here.
You want an update of the status? What we-
Of each case.
Okay, what we
Because there's
can
so many
do-
cases, it's very,
What we can do is contact our attorney,
yeah.
advise him of what you asked, and see what, and have him prepare a response for you. How's that?
Well, not just for me, just for the
Yeah.
update.
But it's your question.
It was my question, obviously, but, I'm asking
Be
this
cheaper,
not
bring here
only for
to
me,
next
obviously,
meeting.
I'm asking it for the community. Because I don't think anybody knows what's going on with any of these cases, and I mean, I think there's like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, I think there's about 7 cases going on, something like that, 6 or 7, maybe more, who
6.
knows? 6, okay, yeah, see, I wasn't even sure. I know there's a lot of cases. Are we at any kind of risk at all? Is the community at any kind of risk or jeopardy?
You never can say yes and you never can say no. It looks like we're okay, but I'm not gonna comment on more than that. Let's turn that to the attorney.
Okay, well, maybe he can attend next time, but of course, he's gonna cost money right to attend.
Yeah. $275 an hour, and the driving time is also that $275, so. It costs us, close to $700, $800, $900 to bring an attorney to me, that's why we didn't bring them. It
Right.
costs money to bring them. I didn't think anybody would have any questions.
Well, I mean, why don't we have him
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even say anything yet.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to thank Margie Stiles and Carlotta Holmes for their service on this board.
And if you notice on our dessert cake, it does say, thank you to Carlotta and Margie for your service to SFU board. So when you're eating the good stuff over there.
So I'd like to make a motion to end the meeting.
Second, oh, you can't make a motion.
I'll make a motion to end our lovely.
Someone make a motion.
I second the motion. I made the motion. Carlotta made it, I seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?